secret abandoned research facilities, wingsuit flying, shark cage diving, and underwater military bases. These are just a few of the 1,000 plus leaked world events that were found in the GTA 6 gameplay, and today I've picked out the most interesting ones from the entire list, and we're going to be talking about them, and also for some even pinpointing roughly where on the map they might take place. So let's start off with some of the most intriguing discoveries. The abandoned observatory, underwater research facility, abandoned research outpost, and the Serra space facility. The mysteries in this game are going to be pretty exciting, and I think these events prove that. Firstly, Serra space facility is almost definitely going to be a parody of NASA, while the abandoned research facility could also be space related and based on the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station or Aerojet Dade rocket development facility in Homestead. Although being a research facility, this could just be a science lab similar to the Humane labs in GTA 5. There's even some references to a space launch that takes place that we might even be able to watch, and witnessing a rocket launch in GTA 6 would be absolutely insane. Based on the real life location for the Kennedy Space Center, we can probably expect it to be somewhere along the northeastern coast on a small island. Then we have this underwater facility. I can definitely see this being the new Mount Chiliad mystery for sure, and having some really cool hidden Easter eggs inside. I'm definitely picturing a Jurassic Park abandoned research type of thing for this, but that's just my imagination. One thing I'm really excited about with these mysterious abandoned locations is how places like this in Red Dead Redemption 2 had special items and weapons that could be found. Which brings us nicely onto the next world event, which is the Bonnie and Clyde mystery barn find. A barn find is like a hidden treasure for cars. Imagine stumbling across an old dusty barn in the countryside, and inside you discover a classic or rare car that's been forgotten for years. Well, it looks like we might be able to find barn finds in GTA 6. Unless of course this is just a one-off. And famously, Bonnie and Clyde drove a 1934 Ford Model 730 deluxe sedan. This car, equipped with a V8 engine, was often associated with their infamous crime spree. So it will be really cool finding this barn find if the model of the vehicle is going to be accurate to their real life vehicle from history. But that's nothing compared to the next events that I've managed to find. So let's talk about the forest and rural events that can take place in GTA 6. Forest figure, caves, mountain bikers, fairyland forest, canyon etchings, and a mineshaft discovery. The events refer to a location quite frequently named the Red Hill Forest. It sounds like the Red Hill Forest, wherever it's going to be found, will be an incredibly large, detailed woodland, much bigger and detailed than the woodlands we got in GTA 5, which for many people will be a breath of fresh air. The most rural areas in GTA 5 were Grapeseed and Palito Bay, which were extremely underwhelming to say the least. Fairyland Forests, this one's kind of interesting because it would be some kind of attraction or strange thing out in the middle of the woods that we could discover, maybe a little bit like Sandy Shores and their parody of Salt Lake City. It could also be a reference to Disney World, with a dark secret to uncover. And this would certainly make sense given the event also says that there's some kind of puzzle to be cracked, which is really interesting. So a heavy woodlands is likely going to be expected to be found somewhere north on the map. This mountain biker corpse suggests that there may be more elevated trails somewhere up north as well, while the mineshaft discovery and canyon etchings also suggest some interesting theories. But there's something more interesting now that we're going to cover while we're talking about mountainous regions, and that's a wingsuit. But there's more modern versions complete with propulsion systems as well, which you might have seen, which would be insane if something like this comes to GTA 6. This sounds like it's a new activity available in the game as opposed to an outfit you can just equip at any given time. The mystery is, the wingsuit is often launched from an aircraft or an extremely high elevated area, or a mountain, so wingsuit flying typically requires a lot more of a vertical drop than that. So this is likely going to be an activity that takes place after we've jumped out of a helicopter or a plane, unless, like we said earlier, Georgia is coming to the game. But that would be extremely ambitious, but you never know what Rockstar are planning. Then there's this, the Big Cat Mansion. This one is interesting because it leaves so much for the imagination. Is this place abandoned, or is it a millionaire's mansion with a tiger, like El Rubio with his panther in GTA Online, or Mike Tyson with his famous white tigers? or even a Tiger King reference in Florida. So for it to be a tiger or something similar would definitely mean this is a big cat that either belongs to a zoo or a famous figure. I can definitely see this being a really cool event to stumble across because it reminds me of Red Dead Redemption 2 where you could get randomly attacked by bears. If this big cat does belong to a mansion that's currently inhabited by someone rich or famous, or maybe even a kingpin in the area, it's likely that this mansion would be probably on one of these central islands similar to Starfish Island in Vice City. So speaking of activities, there's a wide range of them that are really interesting. First of all, the shark cage, which is pretty cool. Could this be like the Ferris wheel in GTA 5? An activity where we just enter it and we get to look around and experience the sharks? But there was also a spear gun found in the leaked files, making you wonder if deep sea hunting or illegal hunting would be a thing, and maybe using these shark cages would be a way to do that. But then there's also a code here that says about bowling, a gym, basketball courts, fishing, backyard wrestling, playing dice, and tons more. Firstly, bowling returning is really cool to see. Bowling in GTA 4 was one of those kind of fun mini-games that we probably only played a handful of times, but imagine doing this on GTA 6 online with some of your friends, and the idea becomes a lot more attractive. The multi-gym also suggests that building muscle might be returning, something that people have wanted since San Andreas, and there's actually multiple references to gyms in the files. But the most interesting activity for me besides the shark cage diving is basketball. There's been plenty of rumours recently about a 3v3 basketball minigame that's being added to GTA 6. Again, this would be an insane activity in GTA Online with friends as well. I did notice that one of the world events is called PG Basketball. I'm not certain, but it could be prison ground basketball. Is this something that Jason or Lucia get to do while they're in prison? If they ever do go to prison. We know that Lucia is in a correctional facility, so maybe this is a prison ground basketball court, but it's likely that there's going to be several of them across the city. Missing tourists and the Satanist house. If you're familiar with the Infinity Killer in GTA 5, this may sound familiar. A murder mystery Easter egg is always fun, and it's a definite Rockstar game thing. We also saw a similar thing in Red Dead Redemption 2, but there's also references to a trophy room, which indicates that there will be a hidden house somewhere filled with skulls or remains of victims, which is kind of dark, but it's definitely going to be a really cool Easter egg. I think a lot of these will tie into the caves and maybe that abandoned mineshaft. We also see a reference here for an airport drag race and the Wine County Motorsports. Adding a drag strip is something that they should have done a long time ago. I can't believe that GTA 5 has a horse racing track but no horses and no racetracks for driving vehicles. If you think about it, it's kind of a crime. Having a dedicated drag strip means so much potential for online races, tuning and testing vehicles, and for modifications. We know that this probably is going to be located near the airport or one of the airstrips near Port Gellhorn, which is exactly where Wine Country Motorsports is also located. Another thing I noticed was the toxic floating trash island. A toxic floating trash island is also known as a garbage patch. It's a large area of ocean where marine debris, including plastic, chemical pollutants, and other waste, accumulates due to ocean currents. They're not solid masses of trash, but rather areas of high concentrations of suspended particles. So, at some point in the game, we're probably going to encounter this somewhere floating in the ocean. Speaking of which, it appears that we have 3 confirmed nightclubs alone in the Vice City area. We know this because there's some sort of event that occurs at 3 AM in all of these clubs, which you can see the names of them on your screen now. There's also going to be a singing road in the game. A singing road is a type of road where grooves or ridges are strategically placed along the pavement to produce musical tones or melodies when a vehicle drives over them. It's not a very important detail by any means, but it's really cool to know that Rockstar are going to this level of detail to add something so small but also cool at the same time. It's like those funny yellow things that stand up in the middle of the bridge leading to Fort Zancudo. We don't really care about them, but every time we go by them, we can't help but drive into them. And I feel like this musical road is going to be another thing similar to that. We don't know why we love it so much, but it's just a really cool feature. These were some of the most interesting ones, so if you want to stay up to date with all things GTA 6, then make sure you guys subscribe and comment down below what you thought.